But first, the insurance industry has for a long time grappled with the challenge of professionalism. Indeed, the industry for quite some time had to depend on human resource from a neighboring country to drive critical elements of business. Today, this picture is changing, and how this is being done is our focus in this segment. Jeremy, it's good to have you on the show, Money and Markets. Now, for starters, how would you look at professionalism in the insurance industry in Uganda?
I think there are some very strong foundations from what I've learned in the last couple of days. I think the regulator is quite active, and mandating qualifications is a very effective way of attracting people who want to take the role seriously and discouraging those who don't. And I think that's that can give a positive factor for ultimately the consumers and their experience of the market. I sense that there's a strong drive for continuing professional development, which is around once you're qualified to whichever level you need to be, keeping your knowledge up to date, because things change, things evolve. Everybody's job changes in some way, shape or form over time. And I think that's really important, and it was very heartening to hear the regulator talking about that and really promoting that to the practitioners here today.
How important is professionalism, to the growth of an industry, a professional industry like insurance?
I think the industry can only grow medium and long term. And as long as you have the right fundamentals in place, it will grow in the right direction.
Now, if you compare where you're coming from, to what is happening in Uganda, what lessons do you think Uganda can draw, and how have you, moved that side? Which, experience you think can be replicated here for the good of the industry?
Well, I think let's start off with, yes, I think you're definitely on the right track because of the foundations which I've observed. I think gaps really come from what can you do next? What more can you do? I think wherever we are in the world, insurance has a challenge in terms of its reputation. And I believe that in order to change the public perception, we shouldn't just be compliant. We shouldn't just do what we're supposed to do. We need to wow. And once you wow for long enough, then perceptions change. But if we just comply with what is good, it won't get any worse, but we want it to get better.
To those that are positive or optimists, this is a growth opportunity. But others would say it's a challenge. There's still a lot of work that the industry has to do to actually fill this gap. Now, how can the industry, turn around this picture? Of course, standing on the pedestal of growing the penetration and entrenchment of professionalism.
I would hope that the insurance penetration would increase as the GDP of the country increases. I think as long as it's based on the right principles and you've got the right culture in place, then you move things in the correct direction as the economy grows. That's not to say you should rest on your laurels. Always important to take stock of where we are, what's working well, what's not working well, and how do we address the things which are not working well. And the answers can come from within, the answers can also come from outside.
So do you think policy plays a role in the growth and expansion of insurance?
I think, yes, it is critical, because that shapes the way the economy grows. And the way the economy grows will determine the take-up of insurance. We see through our work throughout the world that as the middle class develops, people owning more property, owning more assets, that increases the need to insure.
What would be your last word?
I've seen many good things here in Uganda this week. Very pleased that we have the recognition of prior learning to help change help upgrade the national qualifications to international qualifications, and to be collaborating very positively with the Insurance Institute of Uganda.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, you're very
Thank you.
welcome.